Hey everyone, the Modern Warfare 3 trailer has been released and it looks delicious. And a few of you have even messaged me asking to create a similar text effect like the one at the end of the trailer. So I figured, why not? Let's do this thing. As for the actual font of the WM3, I haven't found the official font, so what I did is a simple trace out of the shapes using the pen tool. And for all you lazy designers out there, I'm offering the PSD for free over at tutcast.com/modernwarfare. You might want to grab that before continuing with the tutorial. Once you have the text ready to go, let's add a few effects to it. We first need to add some color. I'm going to add a gradient overlay to give some color variation to the text. The color on the right will be set to a dark green, the left will be set to a much lighter green, and then I'm going to add another bright green right around the 30% mark. And now that the colors are set, let's set the style to radial, bring down the angle to 0 degrees, and increase the scale right to around 130%. This will give a really nice shine to the middle of the text and keep the edges nice and dark. You may also want to drag the gradient up so that the shine isn't overpowering the middle. You can do this by simply clicking and dragging inside your document and drag up. Good. Now let's add an outer glow. We're going to keep it fairly simple. The blend mode will be set to linear dodge. The color will be a nice neon green. The size will be set to around 15 and increase the range all the way up to 100%. Now keep in mind, depending on the size of your text, your settings may need to be tweaked just a little bit. And finally, let's add a slight edge to our text by adding an inner shadow. In here, we're going to set the blend mode to overlay. The color is going to be set to pure white, the angle 90 degrees, and the distance and size down to 1. Fantastic. That just about does it for the text. Next up, we're going to be adding a few lines that run across the background. These can be done in a few ways, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. The first can be done using the pen tool. On a new layer, go ahead and grab your pen tool or press the letter P on your keyboard and select the second button at the very top, which are paths. Go ahead and create a jagged pattern across your document. Now you're free to use straight lines, curved lines, or even a combination of both. And if you're unfamiliar with the pen tool, I have a pretty in-depth tutorial on my channel, so definitely check that out. Now that you've completed your first line, we need to stroke it. No, not in the dirty sense, but in the design sense, which means we're going to be painting over top of it. Press the letter B on your keyboard to enter your brush tool and select a nice small soft brush. I'd say around 3 pixels. You can also set the color if you like, but we'll probably end up adding a color overlay anyways. Now that the brush is set, hop back into your pen tool by pressing P on your keyboard and right-click your newly created line. Select Stroke Path and make sure that Brush is selected and turn on Simulate Pressure if that option is available to you. When you accept these changes, you'll see a nice line going across the document. Now, just like in the text, we're going to be adding a few styles. For this line, if you didn't set the color from the beginning, add a nice bright green color overlay to this layer. And of course, we need to make it glow. Let's add an outer glow. I'm going to keep the blend mode at screen. I'm going to set my color to a nice neon green. The size is going to be set to 18 and the range is 30. Again, you may need to tinker with the settings depending on the size and the style of your line. With this line created, you can duplicate this layer and distort it if you like. Let's add a quick shear distortion just to show you an example. Now because we have a color overlay on this layer, we can switch up the color simply by double-clicking on the layer style and changing the color. Nice and easy, and it gives you the option to mix it up if you like. So that's the first way of creating a line. But the second will take advantage of more distortions. This time, instead of using the pen tool, let's grab the shape tool and select the line option at the top, and make sure to set or keep the weight at 1. Go ahead and draw a line across your document. Right now, it's a boring straight line, but we're going to jazz it up a little bit by distorting it. Let's head up to Filter, Distort, and then choose Wave. Now if it asks to rasterize the layer, go ahead and press OK. In the Wave dialog box, there's a lot of settings in front of you, and honestly, it's a lot of trial and error. Take a look at the settings that I used and try them on your line, see if you like it, and adjust them accordingly. When you press OK, you'll see that we now have a nice curved and jagged line, which we can go ahead and put behind our text. And I'd say because we already have 2 pretty visible lines, that we'll go ahead and decrease the opacity of this line to around 30%. Now here's something pretty cool we can do. If we go ahead and duplicate this layer by holding down Command or Control on your keyboard and pressing letter J, and then repeat the filter 2 or 3 times, and this can be done by holding Command or Control and pressing F, we'll get a pretty neat abstract effect, which we can also include in our final design. I'm going to bring this all the way to the top and set the blend mode to overlay. That's looking pretty cool. One last thing we're going to add are scan lines. For this, we need to make a new pattern. Go ahead and make a new document with the dimensions 4 pixels by 4 pixels with a transparent background, and zoom all the way in once it's created. With your pencil tool selected, which may be hiding under the brush tool, paint only the top half black. Leave the bottom completely transparent. And now head up to Edit, Define Pattern, and name it something relevant, like Scan Lines 4 pixels. Now, back in our original document, create a new layer, and with the Fill tool selected, change from foreground to pattern. Now you have the ability to select the new scanline pattern we just created and fill that layer with that pattern. Now once filled, I set the blend mode to soft light and the opacity to 35%. And there you have it, a neat looking Modern Warfare 3 look. You can obviously use any text you wish and create your own similar design. In fact, what I would love for you all to do is make a similar design with your username and upload it to our Facebook page over at facebook.com/iceflowstudios. I'd love to see what you all come up with. Hope you enjoyed it, and take care.